Thinking about moving to Lincoln, Nebraska? Well, before you pack a single box, let's take a realistic look at the local cost of living and what a $100,000 household income can actually buy you here. Because $100,000 can feel completely different depending on your zip code. If you're coming from somewhere like Denver, Seattle, Portland, Southern California, or really any higher cost metro, you probably notice that six figures doesn't nearly stretch as far as it used to. Between mortgage or rent, insurance, groceries, childcare if you have kids, and everything else, it can feel like you're making decent money but never really getting ahead. So today I want to show you what that same income looks like here in Lincoln, and not just on paper but in day-to-day life. We'll talk about housing, everyday expenses, and what your lifestyle might actually feel like if you're moving to Lincoln, Nebraska. One thing that is important to note is that cost of living isn't just about finding the cheapest place to live. It's also about what your income allows you to do once you've covered the essentials. Can you buy a home you actually enjoy? Can you save for retirement, take vacations, go out to dinner once in a while without thinking twice? Those are the questions that really matter. Now, before we start breaking down numbers, let's set a couple of expectations. So, first of all, when people search for cost of living in Lincoln, Nebraska, they're usually looking for one simple answer. Is it affordable? Well, the honest answer is yes. Well, what most people don't realize is that affordability isn't just about spending less. Sometimes it's about getting more for what you're already spending. For example, if you currently own a small townhome in a higher cost city, moving to Lincoln might not simply reduce your monthly payment. It might also mean having a yard, a dedicated office, a finished basement, or a garage with room for 2 cars. Those aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet, they'll actually change how you or your family lives every day. So instead of asking, how cheap is Lincoln, ask yourself, what kind of life could I have here on the same income? So to keep things simple, let's use a household earning about $100,000 a year. That's an easy number to understand. And it's also a salary range that a lot of families I talk with fall into. So I'm not going to pretend that every family's budget looks exactly the same. Every situation is different. But what we're looking at today is the overall picture, what a typical household can reasonably expect while living in Lincoln, Nebraska, compared to somewhere like Denver. So Denver is a comparison that comes up all the time, and in fact more people move from Denver to Lincoln every year than any other city in America. After years there, Denverites love the mountains, they love the weather, they love everything the city has to offer, but they're also sometimes tired of feeling like they're working so hard just to maintain the same standard of living. It's easy to look at a standard cost of living index and see that Denver is roughly 18% more expensive than Lincoln overall, but that generic index percentage also doesn't pay your bills. So let's look at actually what happens to a standard realistic monthly budget if you live here in Lincoln versus what you need to spend to maintain that same lifestyle in Denver. First up, the biggest wallet killer, housing. Whether it's a standard apartment that you're living in, the realistic citywide market average in Lincoln is going to run you somewhere from $1,100 to $1,300 a month. That same apartment in Denver is going to be closer to an average of $1,900 a month. That means right out of the gate, Lincoln is going to help you save an extra $500 or so a month in your pocket. Next, groceries. So for feeding a single person with fresh staples costs a little under $700 a month, and in Denver you're looking closer to a little over $700 a month. For a family of 4, budget on average $800 to $1,100 a month in Lincoln, and that same fam would expect to budget $1,100 to $1,400 a month in Denver. To be completely fair, Lincoln doesn't win every single category. Denver takes the win when it comes to utilities. This has to do with a mix of distinct regional energy pricing and mild mountain summers, so that typical bill on average for utilities is $327. Lincoln's got some heat waves and some extremes, so we scale up a little higher, $350 a month on average for all utilities. But we claw it back with transportation and entertainment. So in Lincoln, you're going to have a little under $350 a month for transit and a little over $350 a month in Denver. So local services run around $1,050 a month in Lincoln and about $1,100 a month for entertainment. So a little bit of a difference there. But let's look at the grand total for those major everyday expenses to maintain that same quality of life. So you've got a baseline monthly expense of $3,700 a month in Lincoln, but it balloons up to about $3,400 a month in Denver. So you have to spend about $650 a month in in Denver just to maintain, that same standard. That's over $7,700 a year. And so then you factor in, you've actually got to earn $10,000 more to break even with what you have when it comes to considering your income taxes too. So that's where Lincoln starts to get interesting. You're not moving here because Lincoln is trying to be Denver. You're moving here because it offers something different. You trade some of the nonstop pace for a little more breathing room. You trade hours spent in traffic for shorter commutes. And in many cases, you trade an expensive starter home for a house where everyone actually has their own space. Now, that doesn't mean that Lincoln is inexpensive in every category. Prices have gone up here just like they have almost everywhere else over the past several years. But Lincoln hasn't been, immune to inflation, but compared to many larger metro areas, your money is still gonna tend to stretch significantly further. On the other hand, if housing leaves room in your monthly budget, suddenly everything else starts feeling a little easier. But what surprises many people isn't that homes cost money, it's how much more home they're able to buy compared to where they're coming from. Then there's day-to-day expenses. Now again, everybody is going to spend their money differently, but groceries, utilities, gas, and everyday services generally remain more manageable here than what many people are accustomed to in larger cities. If you've spent years of your life cumulatively sitting in traffic for 45 minutes or more each way, it's easy to underestimate what shorter commutes are worth, or even feel like. Maybe you're spending less on fuel, maybe you're putting fewer miles on your vehicle. Well, even more valuable than the money is the time. So instead of spending an extra hour in traffic every day, maybe you're home having dinner with your family, or catching up with friends downtown. You're able to go walk the dog, hit the gym. Maybe you're making it to your kid's baseball game, or volunteering. Those things don't show up in a monthly budget, but they absolutely affect your lifestyle. Lincoln also tends to be a very practical city. Most neighborhoods have grocery stores, restaurants, parks, schools, and everyday shopping within a relatively short drive. Another area people can tend to ask about is property taxes. Well, Nebraska is known for having higher property taxes than many other states, and it is important to be upfront about that because it's definitely part of the overall financial picture and a part of people's day-to-day conversations. Well, if someone tells you Lincoln is inexpensive without mentioning property taxes, they're also not giving you the complete story. Well, the difference is that many people relocating here are comparing those taxes against substantially lower home prices. So yes, while your tax rate itself may be higher, the overall monthly housing payment can still be very competitive depending on where you're moving from. So when your baseline housing costs drop, it frees up a really good-sized chunk of change every single month. That money can go toward paying off debt faster. It can be saving for retirement or saving for a vacation and travel. Simply having the peace of mind that comes from not stressing over every unexpected expense. And honestly, that's probably the biggest lifestyle difference that people would see after they've been here for 6 months or a year. I usually don't hear everything is so much cheaper. I'll hear we finally feel like we have breathing room. That's a very different conversation. I also want to point out that Lincoln isn't the right fit for everyone. If your ideal lifestyle depends on having professional sports every weekend, mountains out your back door, or the energy of a city with several million people, well, Lincoln is going to feel quieter than you're used to. But for a lot of people and families, that's actually part of the appeal. You still have a vibrant downtown, local restaurants, diverse community, breweries, concerts, Big Ten sports, miles and miles of trails, parks, plenty to do throughout the year. You just enjoy those at a pace that's a little less hectic. When people are moving to Lincoln, Nebraska, they're often surprised that the lifestyle just feels balanced. You can build a career here or own a home with character that you can enjoy and improve, get across town without planning your entire day around traffic, and still have enough left over in the budget to enjoy weekends instead of just recovering from the work week. Of course, there are a few things that are worth thinking about before you pack up and move. If you're coming from a much larger metro area, Lincoln is going to feel different. Our restaurant scene is growing, and same goes for entertainment. There's concerts, festivals, college athletics, community events, plenty happening throughout the year. And then there's the weather. You'll experience all 4 seasons here. Summers can get very hot and humid, Winters bring snow and cold temperatures, especially in January and February, and spring can definitely come with a few thunderstorms. So when people ask whether Lincoln is affordable, that's just really only part of the conversation. The better question is whether Lincoln fits the kind of life you want to live. Well, if you're looking for a place where your paycheck stretches further, where owning a home feels more attainable, where your commute is noticeably shorter, where your weekends aren't spent sitting in traffic, and where you can often enjoy a little more financial breathing room, well, Lincoln deserves a serious look. On the other hand, if your priority is living in the middle of a major metro area with every big city amenity, you might decide another city is a better fit. That's totally okay too. And the goal isn't to convince everyone that Lincoln is the perfect place to live, but it's simply to give you a realistic picture. As someone who's lived here for almost 20 years and now helps people relocate to Lincoln and put down roots, one of the things I enjoy most is watching people's expectations change once they experience the city for themselves. But ultimately, the cost of living in Lincoln, Nebraska isn't just measured in dollars, it's also measured in time. It's measured in opportunity. It's measured in how much flexibility you have after the bills are paid. And for a lot of people making the move, that's the biggest difference of all. If you're thinking about moving to Lincoln, Nebraska, and you're trying to figure out which neighborhoods fit your budget, what different areas of town are like, or whether Lincoln is actually a good fit for you and for the lifestyle you want to pursue, that's exactly what I cover here on this channel. I make videos to help you understand what it's really like to live here. And if you have questions about your specific situation or anything about the city, well, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to be a resource, even if you're still months away from making a decision. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.